Good evening, good evening, good evening. And that was, as Dave W. said, the final countdown. But as always, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome. Three times on the trot. Shock horror. shock horror. But good evening to people who are in chat this evening. Like I say, please do remember to click on the like and share button. We've got Bodlin, Billy, Ruth. Good evening to you three. Mike, good evening to you as well. Tube Driver, good evening to you. I saw you here with us yesterday, so welcome. This is going to be interesting. I've got something special lined up. We'll see if they turn up. We've got a. So here's the thing. Here's the best way to describe it. There's a comment on my channel. I'm still very fortunate. I'm quite a small channel. So I recognize a lot of the people who comment quite regularly on my channel. And one of those people used to be Jean-Luc Picard. And he commented on my channel very positively for quite some time. And then I dared say the unthinkable that Corbyn was not a good leader, and he turned essentially into a hater, and he's been screaming at me for the longest of time to let me on because he'll take me to the cleaners, etc., etc. So I've gone, well, okay, it's taken about a year for him to actually get on here. We'll see what happens. Like I say, he's meant to be turning up about 6 o'clock, so we'll see if he turns up or not. But there's two ways this is either going to go down. This is either going to be an absolute this is going to be either an absolute disaster stream where I'm just like, okay, guy, whatever. If you said your piece, fine. But honestly, I'm not going to spend too much time on this guy if it turns out that way. Or it might be a somewhat productive conversation. Who knows? I go in hoping that it's going to be a somewhat productive conversation. We'll see what he's got to say. Although I highly suspect he's going to be very, very negative and critical of me. So yeah, this is going to be fun. But yes, Dave, you are right. Rochdale by-election. Who do you think will going to be win? Who do you think's going to win? God, anyone but George Galloway. Seriously, anyone but Galloway. The only saving grace will be that he might only be an MP for a short time. That's the only saving grace. That is generally the only saving grace that this is going to end up being, that Galloway's probably going to be in for a very short time, hopefully. But during that time, he's going to say all sorts of ridiculous stuff, and we're going to have probably the delight of covering it. So I don't know, swings and roundabouts. I suppose I hope he doesn't win, to be honest. But if he does win, well, I suppose I can make content of it. But we'll find out. Like I say, the polls close at 10, I believe. Probably going to be hopefully a relatively quick count, but we'll probably get the results about maybe like 2 a.m. So you'll definitely find out tomorrow morning who's won. Again, the hope is it's just not Galloway, because yeah. Anyway, Victoria, good evening to you. Colin Thompson, greeting to you from the Big Apple, as always. Duke Vengeance, you're having a nap. I hope you had a very nice nap. Martin Arnold, yeah, Labour screwed up. Well, it's just honestly, it was well. To be honest, it's become the most cursed by-election I think I've ever seen in recent times. Rochdale. It has become the most cursed by-election ever because you had the Labour candidate got disowned, you had the Green candidate get disowned. There was a Lib Dem councillor who went and started like campaigning for Galloway. Uh, just honestly, it's gonna be weird with him in Parliament. But we'll see what happens there. But I suppose he'll have some fun, spouting off Russian talking points, and we'll probably have some fun calling him out on, spouting Russian talking points in Parliament. But we'll see. Yep, Danielle Galloway will be like the cat that got the cream if he wins. Oh, absolutely. Like I say, the only good point, will be if he does win, it's going to be a relatively short term because there'll be a general election, and I don't think. Well, to be honest, first of all, I don't think he'll stand. I think he will stand down, and if he does stand again, I don't think he'll win because I don't think you could really say that he would be a legitimate candidate for that particular area under like a serious general election issue. Uh, he's just there to sort of cause trouble, and essentially be a nuisance to sort of the other parties. Leslie, hello from Scotland. I say the question is now at 6 o'clock. How long do I wait? how long do I wait? Do we take bets they don't turn up? Well, I think he's going to turn up, but then it's just, well, what does this conversation turn into then? I'm not expecting a lot if I'm honest. So I do apologize, but this conversation I think will go south pretty quickly. But I am at least hoping this might actually be a productive conversation. We'll see what happens. But Putin did his grand speech. If we saw that today, once again threatening nuclear weapons. I suppose I don't know how many times he's threatened to launch the nukes in the past 2 years. Craig, good evening to you. Liquid Drax, good evening to you as well. Like I say, we're waiting on our guest to turn up. We'll see. I don't know. What should we do in the meantime? Oh, yes. Did you see Michael Gove has got in trouble? Where is it? Do. But yeah, he's been I don't know if this is going to turn out to be anything serious, but by the looks of it, he just forgot to put his dinners that he had with someone with the PPE contracts, but then they did end up getting a PPE contract, so there is that. I'm trying to find it now. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, here it is. Michael Gove, yeah. So about a week ago, The Guardian exposed Gove that he didn't list this dinner, this football match he went to on behalf of I can't remember which company it was now, but he didn't list it, didn't put it in the his MP registry, which you get where you meant to put it into. And of course, it was brought up by The Guardian. He said he'll correct that, and he's now being investigated by the Standards Watchdog. So, yeah, Michael Gove, Housing Secretary, being placed on investigation by the Parliamentary Standards Watchdog after notifying them that he failed to declare hospitality. Oh. So, we'll see what happens with Gove, but we'll probably come back to that later. There we go. There we go. Hang on. Right, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
You're going to have to speak louder than that. I can't hear you.
All right. Can you hear me?
Louder than that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Hello.
Right, hello. Yeah.
How are you this evening?
I'm all right.
Yes. So how are we going to do this? I'll let you take the start of the conversation.
Well, I don't know. You're the one who wanted to speak to me, so you can.
Oh well, how do I do this? Well, really, firstly, I'm not impressed with Starmer and his U-turns. At first, when he came to the party, I actually thought, okay, I'll give him the benefit of doubt. But unfortunately, he's proven just like they said he would. I'll admit I am a Corbyn supporter, and I was infused when he became leader for radical change.
Right.
Bear with me, this is my first live stream, so. As I said before, all his U-turns on his promises has just led me to believe he's not worth voting for.
Okay, so what about the fact that you're not just voting for Starmer, you're voting for like the rest of the Labour Party?
What are left of them?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What are left of them?
The members he's expelled.
There are still plenty of people left in the Labour Party. I've explained this I don't know how many times in my videos. There are there are still like left-wing groups in the Labour Party. They are still there. I think it is very disingenuous for people to say, "Well, I'm only care if Starmer's there." Well, not only care, sorry, if Corbyn's there. I'm only going to support Corbyn. That to me suggests that what would have happened if Corbyn would have won, it would have turned into a very, very cult of Corbyn. I think that would have been a very, very bad move for the Labour Party. Momentum did a very bad job when it came to sort of trying to support other left-wing groups. They didn't seem to want to work with other left-wing groups. in Labour. They only cared about themselves. They only cared about the leadership. They didn't care about getting more people into, the Labour Party from a sort of a left-wing cause. Corbyn was a bad leader. I'm sorry, but he was. Under every single metric, Starmer has him beat and a ton of different metrics. You can say, oh, he's kicked out certain left-wing people, but doesn't, there's still the other people there in the Labour Party who are going to fight for champion left-wing progressive causes.
That's if he allows them to. I mean,
so what's he not going to allow them to fight for?
Left-wing policies,
such as
well, how about reversing austerity?
So Starmer has said on multiple occasions he's going to invest in the UK. He's going to invest in UK industry. He's going to invest in the steel industry. He's going to make sure the NHS is fully funded. He's talked about increasing the rate that councils get. That is on by par reversing a lot of the austerity measures that the Tories brought in.
Still not convinced. I mean,
so what about Ed Miliband? Because Ed Miliband's pretty left wing. He's said a lot of very good stuff I've covered in the past on this channel. He's going to be at the core of any centre Starmer government.
But he's still turning back on things, though. I mean, what about PR?
Well, that's why, you fight for it. I mean, they passed the motion at the Labour conference.
You sure? I thought he turned around on that.
No, they passed the motion at Labour conference, and then it got sort of passed to sort of Gordon Brown, and now we're looking at doing citizens' assemblies. So it's very likely there could be a citizens' assembly on PR.
As in, reform the House of Lords?
Well, no, it depends. Well, no, I would say proportional representation is going to be sort of focused on more Westminster. I think House of Lords reform is a different topic in itself. But no, I'd like to see PR brought in for House of Lords and reform the House of Lords that way, make it an elected body. But that's something else that is going to be brought up in these citizens' assemblies as well.
Well, it remains to be seen, but fair enough. I'm just holding out my suspicion, that's all.
Okay, that's fine. But when it all, happens, we get a Starmer government, Starmer might not be able to do everything he wants to do. If we are going to, by the looks of it, entering a recession, you've got to admit that material conditions are going to change. Starmer's probably going to have to change what he has to do in response to that. Even Corbyn, if he was still in charge and he was about to win and we went into recession, he would have to change his plans as well. Sometimes the realities of the situation means that you can only do certain things because those are resources that you've got to tackle, and sometimes you've got to tackle the big problems first. And I think Starmer's going to have a massive problem trying to clean up the mess from the previous 14 years of Tory government. Now, that's going to be, I think, maybe his first 2 years he spends doing that.
Yeah, I don't envy his job. I mean,
no, I don't either.
Yeah, there's going to be I'm sure he's going to do with parliamentary investigations on everything, tooth and comb, through every Tory dealership that's been done, especially the PPE scandal and the COVID fraud.
Well, that's what they've said they're going to do. They're going to launch a sort of investigation into that. But you are right on not just things like that, but it's the stuff at Port Talbot as well. That's why the Labour regional mayorship of North Tyneside also needs to be won by a Labour candidate as well, so they can get to the bottom of that and find out what's going on there.
I mean, yeah. Okay, Starmer's going to win. It's a certainty. Fair enough. I mean, I will not want to tear to see the back of the Tories after the last 14 years. But there's still that niggling doubt.
So to anyone, I would say that's like that yourself. My mode would be now join the Labour Party and join these left-wing Labour groups. Get in there, start campaigning, start writing to your Labour MP, or when you eventually get them, your future candidate, and start campaigning for those progressive causes. Because otherwise, that's not how you affect change. And if anything, you've got a very big moment now where you have a left-wing party in power that will want to do progressive things. Now, these progressive things they might do might not be the 100% thing that people want. But I've said before, look at Canada. Justin Trudeau, when he lost the confidence of I can't remember which other party he was in coalition with now, but he got the Progressive Party to sort of restabilize his coalition to keep his government going. Now, when he did that, the Progressive Party, instead of saying, right, we want all these, super progressive things, they compromised and say, okay, well, we want this, this, and this, but we're willing to go this far on this subject and this far on this. And in Canada, they got a lot of stuff really well done. So, for example, they got dental care as a sort of a healthcare right in Canada. Now it's means tested. It's not as far as the progressive wanted to go, but that is a win. That is a good win, and that is where we have to sort of pick our battles and go, well, okay, maybe we can get 60% on this, but maybe we have to go back and say, well, 40% on this, 50% on this, and maybe it is stuff like, well, we do means testing as sort of so that people can have access to it. There's a ton of different stuff that it will come down to, but it will be down to negotiations, and it will be making sure that we pick the right battles and fight for things that we want to do, and we don't die on a hill for something that might be good that we want, but maybe we can get two other really good progressive things done if we're not willing to die on a hill for something ridiculous as well. Let's say like the free broadband. Let's say that comes back in. I've said before that's a good policy. Corbyn screwed it up. It would be really good. It works really well for South Korea. Adds a ton of to their GDP. If that sort of comes back, maybe we can sort of wheel back on it in some way, shape, or form. But I wouldn't die on the hill to say, we are going to sort of ensure free broadband for everyone when there's two other or three other progressive things we could get done if we're willing to sort of compromise on that.
So you're like thinking that, left-wing policies will come through via osmosis type.
I don't think they'll come through osmosis. I think they'll come through for the fact that there's going to be a lot of Labour MPs who are going to be sort of very progressive.
I mean, you have a point, but it's time building. It's not going to be an instant hit, an instant effect.
These things take time. That's national politics. These things aren't done very quickly at all at a national level. If you want to do things very quickly, I'd say go to sort of your local level, your more local council. You can do things a lot more quicker at your local council level.
Oh, don't talk about local council. I've been trying to get our road repaved, and our local council is a Tory.
well, like I say, go. It's a fight sometimes, and it's there's the history of politics. There are many great people who have done fantastic things, but will never get into the history books because it was done in local politics. and it's the sad thing that local politics doesn't get that much recognition as it really should do. But that's the way it goes, unfortunately, for local politics.
Yeah. What else was going to mention? I've gone completely blank. Yeah. Yeah. I know I might keep going around just circles, but it's just something that's about Starmer just doesn't rub right with me.
And that's fine. Again, if you've got that, that's fine. But you're not just voting for Keir Starmer. You will be voting for your particular Labour candidate. Ultimately, it will be whoever your particular Labour candidate will be, the guy who gets to represent you. My Labour candidate is Dan Jarvis. I write to him quite often. And I would advocate that for anyone. Write to your MP. It does have an impact. Go and see them at the surgeries. That has an impact. Most of the time people do not turn up to MP surgery, so they will spend, or willing to be spend quite some time for you on that. You can get them on local issues as well. So again, go see your local candidate for the road as well. That'd be something I'd advocate for doing as well.
Mine's Kim Ledbetter. Should have been more prepared for this. Yeah, I mean, it depends if what you're saying comes to fruition. All being good, but it does remain. Yeah, if he's doesn't renege on his promises.
Well, no, that's it. That is the problem. And if he does obviously renege on his promises, bear in mind these aren't going to be sort of pledges. These are going to be sort of the manifesto promises. And at that point, that is where you can hold a government more to account, and even a particular party more to account what they do. So, I've said before, I'm not really bothered on the stuff that he U-turns about now. I'm more bothered about stuff that if he would U-turn on in a potential manifesto, that would matter more to me than anything else. But until the manifesto comes out, we don't know what obviously the plans for a future Labour government are going to be, for 100%. We know what they've said from the pledges and things like that, but until the manifesto's out, we're not going to 100% know for sure on that.
I mean, okay, you're going to use them as a vehicle to get what you want, put it into motion. What Starmer, as I'm referring to. I mean, if he does become, I'm not sure who's going to take over from him. Would it be Rayner?
Probably, I think Rayner's probably a good shout. Certainly, sort of when you're talking future leaders, Andy Burnham would be very good. I think a future Labour leader, but he's still doing another term as Manchester's mayor, so I'd probably expect him to see maybe the next Parliament, maybe, but we'll see. Although Ed Miliband, I'd be quite happy for Ed Miliband to have another crack at the leadership.
So would I. I mean, even with Gordon Brown. Well, he's not in the party anymore, is he?
No.
No. So that's...
No, you can't. Well, no. Well, he's not even a Lord, so you can't even do a Cameron and just bring him from the Lords. But
I was wondering, how the hell do you get that, swing that? And I thought, aren't you supposed to hold a constituency?
No, you can actually have a Lord take a position in the House of Commons, but they don't get a a vote in the Commons, but they have to obviously answer to the Commons. They have to turn up for select committees and questions that are going to be asked to them. They sort of have to turn up for that. It is a very old historical thing that parties can do. It hasn't been done for a very, very long time, admittedly. So it was kind of weird that you brought Cameron back, but by all accounts, Cameron is completely showing up the rest of the cabinet by shockingly being competent. So I have to give him credit for that. Being having a good, competent foreign secretary is kind of interesting to have compared to what we've had recently.
It's bad when you want to go back to 2015.
So, anything else you want to talk about?
Well, predictions of how many seats the Tories are going to lose.
I would probably say from 120 to 80. I'd say in that range. I mean, I know there's the two polls floating around that say they're going to sort of win 8 and 4, but I'm very skeptical at those two. I'm very skeptical at those two.
Yeah, I thought they'd just have 80 left, but that's stretching it.
I mean, we'll see what happens, because I think there's a lot of mistrust in the polls. I think even Labour are mistrusting their lead. The Conservatives themselves are saying that the pollsters have got it wrong. That this is going to be 92 all over again. That they'll somehow pull off like a dramatic victory, but I think even that might be a bit very optimistic. But I do understand Labour not wanting to take this for granted, which again I'd be calling them out for if they're taking this for granted. I think even if you do have this massive poll lead, there's always stuff that could go wrong. You never know what might happen next week or the week after that or a month down the line. So I'm very glad that they are taking it cautious, but sometimes I do wish they'd be more brave and bold about it. But the strategies seems to be working. So I can complain about it, but hey, it's sort of working.
Yeah, we've got reform to thank. Tory vote.
Yeah, I mean, by the looks of it, if you look at the two recent by-elections, you're looking at probably about 10%. And if you look at other sort of by-election performance as well, you're looking at, once again, the missing 10%. So roughly now there's about, I'd say, 20% of a missing Tory vote in constituencies, which is going to have a very, very big impact. A very big impact.
Yeah, I mean, some voters are just long-life Tory voters going to be turned off by what they're seeing and just stay at home, or at best go for a say Lib Dems or extreme Labour.
So, Dr. Rapperbrand brings up a good question. After nuclear bomb is dropped on London, where should we move Parliament to? Manchester or Leeds? I'd like it in Leeds, but I think Manchester would probably get it.
Me too.
I think Manchester would be more likely to get it, but it would be nice to be in Leeds. But Leeds does get a lot of stuff, unfortunately. But I'd like to see a more Yorkshire regional parliament. Not that I don't like our different 4 regional mayors that we've got now, but I would rather the one Yorkshire plan that was put forward go through. We have a Yorkshire Regional Assembly. I think that would be much better for Yorkshire.
Was it John Prescott who tried to do something like regional?
I'm not sure, but I know, like I say, Labour was the one who kicked off all the regional mayors, and there was we even had a referendum on: do you want the one Yorkshire plan, or do you want individual mayors? Unfortunately, it was because of the long historical rivalries between Leeds and Sheffield that the one Yorkshire plan didn't go through, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would like to see. Well, I was infused by your Northern Independence Party
Oh yeah,
a while back.
yeah. The guy who ran it wasn't even from the north.
Oh,
It was from Plymouth, down
okay,
south.
that worked.
Yeah, I don't think that was a serious party. I think it was just an attempt to, jumpstart something. I mean, if anyone ever really seriously wanted to do something about a Yorkshire party, there is an actual Yorkshire party that do run in Yorkshire. They do massively advocate for a Yorkshire independence, and to have a Yorkshire sort of based parliament. But they've never come close to winning any seats. But they are active in Yorkshire.
Well, I would like to see some more similar on the lines of devolution for Scotland and Wales towards the larger regions such as Yorkshire, Cumbria, and Manchester. Along those lines.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, because like I said, the different mayoralships have shown that they do bring a lot of worth. There is still, I think, a lot of worry about it being just another layer of bureaucracy. I've got a friend who works. Well, I know two people. One who does work for Simca, which is the Sheffield City region, and someone else who works for a local council. And they say the problem is, if you want to get to almost speak to government, you've got to go through this other layer that exists. But there have been other sort of good points where they've praised it, that it has been good. It has unlocked a lot of investment in the region. Has brought a lot of sort of other good things to the region. We've even got, Dan Jarvis created the only one in existence in the UK, the Worker Cooperative business unit in South Yorkshire. So that helps to either start worker cooperative businesses in South Yorkshire, or help businesses transition to a worker cooperative.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, that's a Blairite. Dan Jarvis is a Blairite, so bear that in mind, that things like that can happen.
I mean, okay, he did some good things while I was here, but there's two things that stick out that and I think you're sure you know what they are: the Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yep.
And over the years, I wasn't identified as a left wing. I saw myself as a liberal type centrist. But unfortunately, that changed over the years.
Was that through just the wars happening, or?
That, and I think Corbyn, all over the years, other stuff happening, made me to realise I'm not right wing, I'm not conservative, or I'm not a centre right. Not even centre left. I'm more left of Blair, or not neoliberal, which I think they identify centrism as.
I don't really say neoliberal would, that's mutually exclusive. I think there would be a lot of people who say they wouldn't be neoliberals, but still would identify as centrist.
Well, it all began with, what is it, Reaganism, Reaganomics, and Thatcher.
Yeah. So I think that's it depends though. I think this is when you come to the sort of what are sort of people. I mean, I know a lot of people would say about me, oh, I'm just from some of the stances I'm take, oh, I'm left centrist, but I'd very much describe myself as someone who's definitely on the left. I think certain issues when it comes to sort of defense, especially recently, it's making me sort of realize the importance of sort of defense spending, especially sort of with the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. You've mentioned Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't think there was a case really for us going into Iraq. I think Iraq would have probably gone the same way during the like a lot of countries did during the Middle East back in 2012. We had those sort of mass sort of uprisings erupt through the Middle East. Afghanistan, I think it's more of a difficult, because I think you look at Afghanistan now and you can see a large group of people who experienced not living under the Taliban for the first time in decades and got to see what that progress, what that looked like. You saw a resurgence in Afghan culture and music, which the Taliban had sort of destroyed, and they are now having massive problems trying to sort of put the genie back in the bottle, trying to sort of reestablish some of these things, and they're trying to sort of like slow boil the frog. They've recently just brought back in public executions, and they've also now fully stopped the education of girls, which, bear in mind, when sort of we were there and America was there, that was sort of fully allowed to happen. And there is an entire generation of women who were educated and have been educated in Afghanistan, and I think that's a massive shame that that's now gone in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to blame the right wingers are trying to the Conservatives try to now blame it on Biden when it was negotiated. Was it Trump's?
Yeah, it was Trump. Trump negotiated for the release of a massive number of Taliban troops, and those Taliban troops were sort of very, very gave the big push to the Afghan sort of fall. But the other problem was the government itself. The government did not stay and fight. If they had stayed and fought, maybe Afghanistan wouldn't have fallen. Maybe the West could have maybe helped prop them up with airstrikes or sort of weaponry or something like that. But we don't know. We'll never know. But Biden pulling out of Afghanistan, though, was a long-held promise by many American politicians, and he finally did it. Unfortunately, it was a mess, but I think that's a separate debate about that.
I mean, there's situation in Ukraine. I mean, the European Union, I think they've approved the extra funding.
Yeah, they've approved that now. Yeah. They're still waiting on the American one funding, and the American funding is the most significant funding that Ukraine needs. And bear in mind, the funding has now been as of tomorrow, it will be 4 months gap that the Ukrainians now have because of that. But other European countries have been stepping up and have been stepping up massively shell production. So that is something that is good to see Europe stepping up. And I think, once again, it is because of Trump saying those things about NATO on that front. But yeah,
that will be a nightmare situation if he actually won in November.
Yeah, November's a long time to hold your breath. I keep on saying that, but it really is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a nightmare in an alternate scenario. If he does back up his promises and withdraw funding. Although Russia have had difficulties in the most basic things, like advancing.
Yeah. I mean, even when they'd taken Avdiivka, we've now got leaks from a Russian military blogger who mysteriously died after these were released.
Is that
between about 17 to 16,000 Russian casualties or deaths. That's not including casualties. That's 16 to 17,000 just to take Avdiivka. That is a staggering number of losses to take just to claim what is at this point a very, very ruined city. Yeah, they cannot keep up this just throwing men at the problem as they seem to do, because they'll all run out of men
and ammunition, and even the basic stuff they're not getting right.
Yeah, the supply lines are still very, very much messed up, and that comes down to HIMARS. Although at the moment they've got a shortage of HIMARS because of the US aid package being held up, because it is more than just money that is going off to Ukraine. It is weapons and ammo and ammunition that is being sent in that aid package as well. It's not just money.
Well, apparently, what I've heard, I think it was, you ever heard of Laserpig?
Yes.
Yeah. Basic radio encryption. They could listen in onto the cranes just shouting down the radio sets.
Yeah, they still haven't sorted that. There is a, I think it's what is it? The Amateur Radio Club of Ukraine has a YouTube channel, and they've still been tapping into like Russian comms. But it's crazy to see. But yeah, it's just how bad things are for the Russian army. But it's also shocking to see that this was once described as what was meant to be a peer to the US, even up until 3 years ago. But
Schoolboy errors.
I think that was just really, I think Trump's not Trump, but Putin's saber rattling. And of course, he's as I was just saying earlier before you came on, he was saber rattling earlier on about Macron's comments wanting to put NATO troops into Ukraine. Again, I'm not 100% sure I'd be for that, but I have heard someone recently, in fact, Dylan Burns, did a video about it saying, well, actually, if these troops were deployed east of the Dnieper River, to basically say to Putin, hey, look, we're not going to let you take all of Ukraine. This is our red line. If you cross the river, then you're going to have to deal with NATO troops. This would then free up a lot of NATO troops, well, not NATO troops, Ukrainian troops that are having to sort of watch the back lines, but certainly watch along the border with Belarus, because they're still very worried about, well, might Belarus get involved in this war, or might Russia decide to send troops through Belarus? But it would free up a lot of troops that are needed on the front line.
I don't think Belarus's army are that big, are they?
No, not really. Not as big as Russia's, but it's still quite substantial from what I know. It's mostly men and artillery.
Sorry, I've gone blank again.
Sorry.
Yeah. Anything else? Because at the moment I'm on complete blank.
No, that's fine. But no, if you haven't got anything else,
okay. No, I haven't. But it's been nice talking to you, though.
No, yeah, no, same to you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was nice. Oh, that was relatively nice. Oh, yeah. Sorry about like I say, his microphone, but I've got no control over that. I can only tell him to turn it up or speak into it louder. But yeah, that was it. Yeah. Who is that, bud? Patrick Stewart didn't sound like that. LOL. Very brave of him, so good on him. Yeah, good on him for turning up. Like I say, this this guy has been shouting at me in comments, telling me to let him on, that he was gonna give me a good thrashing. But no, I didn't know which way this conversation was gonna go. So good on him for having we had a nice sort of civil conversation. It was, I thought, relatively quite productive. As I've said before, I am not against speaking to people. I actually like speaking to people. One angry pagan. So who was that, Ollie? I missed that at the start. So that was someone who I've seen sort of been in the channel for sort of quite some time, basically constantly sort of criticizing me and telling me that he wants to sort of come on and speak to me and talk to me. So yeah, it finally happened. Like I say, I keep on saying I've got I have an open door policy for anyone who wants to sort of talk to me about any subject or things like that oh, pardon me, that they want to sort of talk to me about. So like I say, I like talking to people. I like interacting with people. So I do like having conversations. But no, like I say, thank you to him to sort of coming on. But yeah, like I say, the message goes out to anyone out there, whether you've agreed, disagreed with me on something I said. If you ever want to sort of come on, get in contact with me. I'm more than happy to have conversations with people. I think having conversations is good. I think you find out more about people's sort of point of view coming along from this. I'm not up for debates. I've stressed that I don't know how many times. Having a debate, I'm not interested in having a debate, purely because honestly, online debates I just think have become quite toxic unless they are set up specifically in a very formal and sort of regimented way. Like I say, I'm more interested in having just relaxed chats and sort of talks with people. I think you get a lot more done with that. So but yeah, like I say, once again, the offer's out there, to chat and sort of talk to people, and anyone again agree, disagree, whatever, get in contact with me, and we'll set something up. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that. Like I say, third live stream on the trots. Is there a Labour Social on Friday? I don't know if there is. If not, I will see you all in Labour Social on Friday. So that'll be good to see you all there as usual. But other than that, watch out for us. We'll be doing the morning Saturday Good Morning Walk as always. Weather. Hang on, let me check the weather. What is the weather like on Saturday? Weather depending as always for the Good Morning Walk. Today, Saturday. Oh dear. It might be an indoor morning walk. It might be an indoor morning walk because on Saturday there is a 72% chance of rain. Joy. Is that going to be all day? Normally I can skip it in the morning. If that's the case. Oh, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with. Oh, is it snow? Oh, is it? No, it's not rain. It's snow, isn't it? Oh. If it's snow, that might be all right then, because we can do snow. It's just when it rains too hard. Oh no, it's sleet by the looks of it. Oh. Friday, we're looking to have maybe some snow by the looks of it. We've gone terribly British now, talking about the weather. But that's just the way, you know, we do things in Blighty. Oh, Graham's had his birthday. I thought it was I knew he'd had his birthday because I've wished him well for his birthday, but I didn't know if he'd had it or was about to have it when I wished him, because everyone started saying it in Labour social chat that I'm in. So I wished him happy birthday there, but we'll remember to remind him how old he is and just inflict my youth upon everyone. Oh, Billy Kershaw, saw you late. Just watching A. Thompson. Well, I'm literally about to finish the stream, unfortunately, Billy. Sorry about that, but you can always watch it back. I had actually quite a nice, productive chat. I didn't know how that chat was going to go, but we'll see. So yeah, we'll see you all, like I say, for the Good Morning Walk. If you're going to join us on Labour Social, I'll probably see you then. If not, like I say, click the like, click the share button on your way out, and of course, we'll see you all very soon next time. So until then, we'll see you soon.